everyone. We will start with our live interview. So, Sean, we do want to thank you. Before we start, I really do want to mention that you are included in the Accounting Today top 100 most influential people in accounting. So we're really happy to have you here. Also, congratulations with that. As you know, today and yesterday we have our two-day AICPA blockchain course and seminar over here. So before we start, Sean, please tell us what you're doing and what your experience is, and then we can kick off with some questions. Is that a good plan?
Absolutely fine. So to sort of hone in on sort of my own background in blockchain sort of crypto space, what I would say are the two main areas that I've been trying to focus on is one, education, training, all the rest, right? Trying to help firms and the folks working at those firms, one, understands what blockchain is, and then two, more importantly, going forward into 2020 and beyond, is to how to actually harness these tools and platforms to be used both internally and externally. And then point number two is to really sort of work with firms, either through the AICPA, through the Accounting Blockchain Coalition, the Wall Street Blockchain Alliance, any other groups like that, is to help also to push the narrative forward from a policymaking point of view, and to also carry the conversation outside of the sort of baseline knowledge into more of a application point of view.
Okay, that's a pretty interesting CV. I know you're also on the board of the Wall Street Blockchain Alliance, who has a cooperation with the AICPA. But so we know that blockchain is important, Sean. But can you name a few interesting use cases that are available or that are being tested today?
Sure. So there are, hundreds of pilot programs out there right now. But a few of the programs and the projects that are more sort of operational, more ready for that enterprise level, are the Interbank Information Network at JP Morgan, right? Basically, this blockchain-based payment system has over 300 member banks signed up for it, and is currently being used by nearly 70 member banks right now, and is supposed to go live actually in 2020. The blockchain programs at Walmart are also a great example of how blockchain is moving out of the concept phase into the enterprise space. Basically, any food supplier of any kind of fresh food is going to have to be on this blockchain by 2020 or 2021. And there are a few other projects out there, Facebook and Libra, IBM has a whole bunch of projects out there, and there is an increasing appetite in markets and trading institutions. So the DTCC, Deposit Clearing Corporation, basically the institution that on the back end settles all trades in the U.S. markets, is actually moving up to 20% of its business onto their own in-house blockchain by the end of 2020. So there are dozens of applications out there right now. So, but I would estimate that in 2020 we are going to see more of the move out of pilot phase and into more mainstream areas too.
Okay, yeah, so it's really moving fast over there in the US, and yesterday we also spoke to Andries Verschelden of Armanino LLP. They really developed a real-time auditing tool, if I may call it that, and they are issuing an opinion, let's say real-time, within 30 seconds. If you go on their website, you will be able to download a test or an audit report, as we would say. So, what do you see in terms of the auditing and accounting rules and regulations? Because we see the technology is there, our clients are using it, we're being confronted with it as auditors and accountants, business owners. What do you see in terms of auditing and accounting rules and regulations?
So the whole field of auditing is almost perfectly made to be augmented and to be changed by the onboard of these enterprise blockchains, right? Because the whole concept of the audit, be it at Aprio, Aramino, EY, the Big Four, pretty much any top 25 firm has a blockchain tool or a team or a task force out there right now trying to harness the blockchain to help with audits. But the core takeaways that I've seen in conversations with policymakers and firms are that one, the audit is going to change, right? It's going to become more automated, more on demand almost, and that as a sort of corollary of that, a big chunk of the audit work, be it confirmations, inventory counts, bank recs, account recs, any of those sort of core audit functions are going to have to be updated and changed as our clients and ourselves have blockchain more fully onboarded ourselves and our client firms to actually give our clients more real-time, on-demand audit data.
Okay, and Sean, as a professor in the US, I do have a specific question. I know that we have some representatives of universities also here in the room with us. So what can universities do to incorporate blockchain within the curriculums for non-IT professionals?
Yes, so the whole idea of trying to weave blockchain into courses, it can be a uphill battle, right? So the best way that I've been able to do it at first, right, is to basically carve out some time in the course to analyze blockchain, talk about it, and to also try to weave it into the course content you are teaching. Now, obviously, the whole sort of blockchain space, it has a large number of areas, right? Crypto assets, public blockchains, private blockchains, audit implications of blockchain, all the rest. So it's really important, I think, to try to sort of give a good overview of blockchain, sort of what it is, how it's different than our current IT systems, and to also try to then pinpoint areas in which this audit content fits into a course. And then ultimately, currently right now, a project that I'm working on is to actually build out a whole new course focusing on blockchain, crypto, RPA, AI, all the rest. So ultimately, right, that sort of new course, new program is the end goal. And the best place to start, I think, it is carving out time in a course or during a time period in class focused on audit.
Okay, that's good to know. And then, as you know, Sean, we're really active in what we call small-scale communities or relatively small-scale countries. So, can you think of any cases where blockchain can be beneficial for small-scale countries? Do you have any specifics on that?
Sure, so the biggest upside, the biggest sort of application that I've seen for enterprises that aren't huge, right? That aren't the Walmarts, Toyotas, and IBMs of the world to actually use blockchain is arguably to have a look at blockchain and go back to your internal operations and to actually see your workflows, controls, and your processes, if they're up to par, if they're up to snuff, and if they are in need of being updated. Now, the biggest applications and the biggest sort of commercial adoptions of blockchain right now are happening sort of at those big sort of multinational levels. But I would argue that in 2020 and going forward, that this push towards blockchain is going to permeate down the food chain, and it's also a great opportunity for any business, big or small, to actually analyze their current workflows and processes to make sure that they're actually taking advantage of their current tools too.
Okay, Sean, another question. What can accountants and non-IT finance professionals do specifically, to what we say, to upskill to make sure that we really understand, blockchain. We're talking about blockchain now, but as you mentioned, RPA, robotic processing automation, cybersecurity, data analytics. So what can we do as accountants, as finance professionals, to make sure that we upskill and that we get up to speed?
So the first thing is education, right? Education at conferences like yours. Right? Education training is the only way to keep yourself up to speed. Now, on top of that, the formal courses, the training, the conferences, it really is on us to make sure that every day, right, we are trying to learn and to keep ourselves up to date. It can be CoinDesk, it can be RPA, Academy.org, any of these institutions that are already putting out data and information on sort of those big picture trends out there, like automation overall, right? RPA, AI, blockchain, crypto, big data, cybersecurity, right? There's all of this stuff happening, and it's really on us to be proactive, right? To go to conferences, to ask questions, and to also try to sort of hone in on which area of this sort of fast-moving landscape is most impactful for us and our clients, right? Because not every client is eligible or a good fit for blockchain or AI, but every client is always going to be a good fit for better controls, better data analytics, and better IT security. And so it's on us to want to train ourselves, right, to be proactive, and to then hone in on which areas are most impactful for us.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm also happy with the group that we have over here, because we should be, each one of us, personally driven to innovate and to make sure that we get the knowledge that is important for us, our clients, and our communities. So, Sean, in terms of international accounting standards, US GAAP, what do you see that the rest of the world is doing to make sure that they can keep the pace with those developments, how to account for cryptocurrencies, how to account for taxes? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there is not too much actually out there right now in terms of authoritative guidance, right? Either for GAAP or for IFRS. But there are quite a few efforts underway at the FASB, at the IASB, to try to get a handle on sort of how these tools and platforms are going to change audit and tax. One comment that I would make, based out of the US, the IRS had just published some updated information and some answers to questions in October. So the best way to summarize that is that it's still a work in progress, but the regulators and the oversight bodies are actively engaged in the process, and they're trying to give us answers to all these open questions.
Okay, and Sean, at last, would you mind to see if you can take some questions from the audience? I don't know if we do have any questions.
No questions? Come on, guys.
I'll ask the question.
Okay, we have Kirk.
Nice to see you.
Kirk.
Could you just talk also a little bit about your work with, I'm not sure which of the working groups you're on as far as the AICPA, but it seems like you're kind of reiterating a lot of the ISAT guidance is not, we're not really there yet. Can you just say what, because I know they're about for the first time kind of with some stuff that's written, not necessarily authoritative, but just the first kind of shot. Can you just talk about which working group you're on and where you guys are at with that?
Sure. So probably the best way to sort of highlight that is that Kirk, as we had mentioned, the current white papers, and I think we have somewhere between 8 and 12 total white papers, right? One, crypto asset, digital asset, audit working groups that are currently in the pipeline right now, and they're due out in the first quarter of next year, first quarter and sort of the first half of 2020. And as you mentioned, it's not authoritative guidance, right? Because only the FASB has that oversight role, but it's basically trying to compile the feedback from public firms, from academia, from industry, to at the very least issue some talking points and to give folks out there some sort of basis, right, to keep doing their current practices or to tweak their current practices based on how to evaluate crypto assets basis. And to add to that, I do know that the Wall Street Blockchain Alliance and CPA.com are also working on some updated comment letters and some white papers, again, to not issue guidance, but to help give the folks in accounting a voice out there in the conversation.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, what I got was basically compiling feedback or talking points to move to the next step.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, any more questions? Are we good? We do have one question, Sean. See if you can hear that one. Go ahead.
A lot of new type of services have been created by blockchain, but for example, for assurance. But what about for tax advisors? Can you identify a new type of service regarding smart contracts or blockchain?
Sure. So probably there are two big sort of threads right now for blockchain, crypto, and in tax, right? So the one area obviously is on the tax side of crypto. Basis, current market valuation, all of that. So all that's over here. And as far as the blockchain services, I would say that the most direct implication of blockchain is that in areas where there are pilot projects, right, where basically any institution that owes taxes in a certain jurisdiction, and I believe Brazil actually had a pilot project underway. Now I don't know how it currently stands, but I do know they had one where basically any corporations operating who were going to owe taxes in that area had to basically be hooked into a governmental set of blockchain. And so basically there was a real-time data being transmitted from the corporation to the tax agency in that country. And so as far as these smart contract application goes, I would say that really as far as the tax implications of that, it is going to come down to how those contracts are executed, one, and then two, how those contracts can be updated as the tax laws and codes change over time. And so yeah, I mean, to answer the actual question, any services or guidance or advice that a tax firm or a tax pro can actually give to a client based on either crypto or on how to interoperate their blockchain tools, smart contracts, both with their in-house IT and any tax authority IT are going to be good services going forward.
Yeah, and to elaborate on that, I know that the AICPA, yesterday we showed it, also has a great video on what the impact of blockchain would be for specific sales tax, and we're going to dive in that also a little bit later. Anyone? Last one? No? Okay, Sean, then I'm just going to show you the crowd and then we're out, but I do want to thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that, and we're sitting over here with around 40 participants. So